Hi, I'm Celeste from Childhood Trauma Coaching, and I want to talk to you today about something that has affected me and many others like me: childhood trauma and chronic pain. When I was in my early 40s, I was a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and I was in a new marriage. I was in charge of remodeling our new home. I was a runner and a gym rat, and I was also a mom to my daughter, and on the weekends to my husband's kids as well. Also, I was going through yet another roller coaster of a court battle with my ex-husband. Like me, he was also a trauma survivor. He had anger and control issues. I was a people pleaser, and I had big time issues with codependency. Fortunately, I had found Al-Anon and was working on changing my behavior. I needed to be able to stand up for both myself and my child, and it was just overwhelming. In the midst of the battle for my daughter's rights, I started to have a lot of physical pain. I was hurting so much that running and working out just wasn't possible anymore. And I was tired. I mean, really, really tired. So exhausted that even moving from my bed to the desk chair felt like a Herculean effort. My new husband was compassionate, but he had no idea what was going on, and neither did I. He suggested I see a doctor, and I did. They didn't know what to make of me and referred me to a specialist. This was around 1999, and the term fibromyalgia was just starting to gain a little traction. So they tested me, and I qualified. They also diagnosed me as having chronic myofascial pain syndrome, chronic fatigue, temporomandibular joint issues, and irritable bowel disease. Lucky, lucky me. Fortunately, I don't give up easy, and I was determined to figure this out. I tried multiple different diets, different exercises. I saw many, many different doctors as I searched for a solution. I tried all kinds of vitamins, many different medications, including antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, and prescription pain meds, all with minimal positive effects and sometimes with very undesirable side effects. At that time, many people, a lot of them with medical degrees, thought that fibromyalgia was a psychosomatic illness or all in your head. And you know what? That really pissed me off. I wasn't a lazy person. I wasn't trying to get out of working. I wasn't whiny or manipulative or any of the other negative behaviors that got attached to people with this diagnosis. What I understand today is that truly fibromyalgia is not all in our heads, but it does have a component of mental distress. It comes from repetitive emotional trauma, which manifests in physical symptoms in the body from chronic stress. That last statement is a paraphrase of some recent studies by doctors and scientists who have been working with childhood trauma and its effects on the bodies and minds of C-PTSD survivors for many years. This actually started back in 1998 when the CDC and Kaiser Permanente studied the impact of adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, on people who identified with having traumatic experiences as children. They followed these subjects over time, and it was found that many of them developed chronic physical and emotional issues. This study has since been refined and updated, and it's really a good place to start if you want to know more about childhood trauma and how it can affect people as adults. You'll find the link below this video. When we feel threatened, our bodies have what's called a stress or fight or flight response. When fight or flight response is highly activated over a long period of time without any calming influences like supportive parenting, the stress chemicals in our bodies build up and become toxic. Toxic stress can damage crucial neural networks in a developing brain. And according to Harvard's Center on the Developing Child, repeated incidents of toxic stress in children, which often persists into adulthood, can lead to lifelong impairments in both physical and mental health. Studies also suggest that childhood traumatic experiences are highly prevalent in people diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Go figure. Another thing to be aware of, those of us with childhood trauma tend to create emotional attachments with people who fit our childhood emotional blueprint. As adults, we frequently get involved in unhealthy relationships. In other words, we're attracted to people who are just about as sick or just about as well as we are. And this is the best reason in the world for doing the work to heal ourselves before looking for love in all the wrong places. It's really important because the repetition of constant fight or flight on our now adult nervous systems will continue to degrade our physical, emotional, and mental health. I'm now in my 60s, and I sometimes have to laugh when doctors and retirement fund managers talk about living into my 90s. What I know is that my dad committed suicide in his 60s after a lifetime of alcohol and drug abuse, a stroke, and chronic obesity. My mom, labeled as a health nut by my dad's family, was also a daily smoker and died of colon cancer at 73. It's very likely they were both survivors of childhood trauma. They also grew up during the Depression, which had its own traumatic effects on the whole generation. And the reality is, my adrenaline addiction was actually a way to keep myself as busy as possible so that I wouldn't have time to realize what was really going on inside me. I disconnected from myself as much as I could. My focus had been on everyone and everything else. Chronic pain and fatigue was my body's only recourse to getting my undivided attention. In a very real way, I owe my current health and lifestyle to the wake-up call of chronic pain and fatigue. Am I grateful? Now I can say that I am. I love and accept who I am today, and I could not have said that 25 years ago. My overall health isn't perfect, but I'm so much better than I used to be. I can now exercise and move every day. I try to eat well and follow a low-carb diet, low on sugar, high in protein and good fats. I use intermittent fasting as a guide, and according to my doctor, I'm pretty healthy. I also am committed to my mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health. I do a morning yoga practice every day, including breath work and meditation, as well as daily journaling. Why do I do all this? Well, because in the midst of searching for anything that would alleviate my pain, what I found was things that began to heal my body, my mind, and my soul. 25 years ago, I didn't really have any foundation for self-care, only self-distraction. Today, I make my self-awareness and my health a priority. And a note here about journaling. This is a really critical part of my ongoing self-care. Like many of us, I hadn't been present day to day with my own needs, desires, feelings, and well-being. My daily journal includes a section at the top, which asks, how am I? Mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. If these aren't aligned, I'm not okay. And that is important for me to know and address as soon as possible. As a result of the changes I've made, I no longer identify as suffering from FMS, IBS, CFT, or CMP. And generally, I feel pretty good most days. Not that I don't get headaches or get sick or injured on occasion, but the chronic pain has been banished and my need for daily medication is limited. When I'm aware that I've been pushing too hard, I take some downtime. I take long, easy walks instead of running, and I make time to get out with friends and allow myself time to enjoy the things that interest me. And here's the thing. We can heal from childhood trauma and chronic pain, but it requires our focus and our attention. No one else can tell you what your path is, but you need to be open to new possibilities and to the journey of healing. You have to be willing to explore and allow your body to guide you. Pay attention to it because the body never lies. This has been and continues to be my ongoing path to healing and wholeness. And I hope that you find your way forward into wholeness too. If you liked this video, please like it below and subscribe to my channel. If you want more information about yoga, somatics, and other practices for overcoming chronic pain, childhood trauma, and all the rest, go to my website, childhoodtraumacoaching.com. Thanks for watching.